What is up, YouTube? We are outside of Austin, Texas at the House of Gains gym today, and we're gonna be working out with a very special guest. So let's go say hi to our friend.
We'll warm up first on the pull-ups. I like to really start to get that feeling of pulling with your back and not your arms on this, because it's so easy to pull with your arms.
Is that why you put the grip on it?
Yeah.
It's not in your hand?
Yeah. Okay. I like to think is always when you're in the rep, driving the upper arm wherever you're trying to drive it. Okay. So you're trying to do lats, driving it back into the midpoint of the body, driving it out in about a 45-degree angle if you're trying to hit the upper back. So what we doing right here? This one, we're gonna be targeting the lower lat. So it's still gonna be the same thing with driving the humerus back to the midline of the body, but you're wanting to tuck it in as you're pulling, and you want to keep the movement very fluid and not retract your scapula. Because as soon as you retract your scapula, you're using the upper back muscles to retract your scapula. Your lat doesn't retract your scapula, it just drives the humerus to the body. Okay. So you're trying to keep scapula fixed and keep the fluid movement of driving the humerus back.
So when you're doing back like this, or I guess you're training in general, are you doing like a lot of sets or a lot of volume, or you just, or how do you structure that?
You want to get the most stimulus out of the least volume. Because the least volume you can do within a workout, the more frequently you can hit that muscle group. So like if you could get in and hit a muscle group with 4 sets and you reach maximum stimulus in that 4 sets, then you would be able to recover another day quicker possibly than if you had done 8 sets. So now you can do 4 sets, recover, do another 4 sets another 2 days later, and now throughout that year you're getting 70 sets or 70 days of legs in instead of 50 days of legs in. But you can't force that. I mean, if you go into the gym, if you're not that advanced yet, you can't just go and say, well, I'm going to do 4 sets today and go balls to the wall, then walk out and I'm going to be done. You have to go reasonably to that point. All right, I'm going to task you going to the front and getting the prime grip.
Bro, I have no clue which one he's talking about, I ain't gonna lie. I guess it's this one, right? Did you say handles?
Yeah.
All right. Got it first try. I'm a genius. I'm just scared of him. He's bigger than me.
Really, this is one where you really want to drive to the lower lats and really pull with the lower lats because you're pulling down, so it gives you that mechanical advantage of targeting the lower lats. It's really one of the only things to really hit the lats that best legs. Chest supported makes it perfect. I like everything chest supported for back if I can. Obviously deadlifts and rack pulls can't, but
because it avoids like, you know, you moving the weight.
And that's why I do the deadlifts and rack pulls, because that still gets the erectors and all the hip hinge and strength in there, so you're not lacking out on that. That gives you all the stabilizer strength you need. There's no point in doing free weight rows if you don't need to.
When you said row, like, you know, I was just kind of pulling like that, but it's like that. I see what you're saying.
It's very important what your spine is doing as far as what you're targeting with your back. Although, if your back is neutral, you can target everything with a neutral back. You can do upper back with neutral, but you cannot do lats with an arched back.
So it's less like feel of the muscle working, but more like feel of the movement. Is that what you mean? Or
you want to master the movement and then master the contraction. You don't want to go the other way around. You can't master the contraction and then master the movement patterns. If you're arching your back and you're saying you feel it in your lats, you might, because they're stabilizing and they're doing something, and they might be getting a lot of like blood flow because of that, but they're not pulling the weight. For just to grow lats, all you need is one movement where you're pulling your humerus to the side. You don't need all this extra stuff. But I do, because I need to work my lats a lot more specifically in certain areas.
do you plan on competing again this year, or
No, not this year. The problem is the areas I'm lacking. You know, if you haven't trained something right for 5 years, you can't all of a sudden grow that 5 years back in a year. That's not how the body works. You can't catch up a muscle that's 5 years behind in 1 year. So sometimes you just have to come to that realization that some muscle groups need more time than you have before all the other ones are ready.
I've been able to, you know, lift more weight than him. I'm looking a little bigger, so I think I can outlift him on this one. I would do 4 plates, but you know, I kind of woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. Max bothered me a bit, but maybe another day.
Okay. Everything's good, but try and let your shoulders drop a little bit more forward that way.
Yeah. Oh,
Not roll, but just let your body fall more naturally that way. That'll keep more tension on your back and less on your glutes.
you're keeping your shoulder like fully extended, right? When you, or is there a slight?
You don't want to do anything with your scapula. You can either put your scapula protracted or neutral. You don't want it retracted, because then that's going to already activate your traps. The whole point of fixating your scapula is not activating your traps.
Gotcha.
Okay. And you want to keep all the tension on the outside. So it's the same thing, and you're just driving humerus, rotating the humerus out.
Oh,
Just a humeral rotation. The less happening up here, the better. Everything wants to be right there. Your delt lengthens, contracts, lengthens, contracts.
So who do you go to, like, for your information? Like, where do you go to learn?
The people who have the most knowledge from research and time spent doing it and learning from other people, and the people who have used that and put it into practice. Because, you know, there's a bunch of researchers out there who are very research based, and then there's some guys who are just completely experience based, but finding that mix of both and who have done both a lot is what I follow. So, like, you know, John Jewett is a clinical dietitian, has his master's in dietetics, and also is an Olympia bodybuilder and made people go pro. He's got all three things there. He knows how to coach, he knows how to train, and he knows what he's talking about. So you go to the people like that. People who have either coached and competed, coached or competed at a high level, and have a pedigree of knowledge behind it.
So what's your general, like, training philosophy, like, when you walk in the gym?
Everybody's got a different stage, so what I would tell one person is different than what I would tell another person than another. Are you a competitor? You know, are you bodybuilding? Are you physique? Have you been doing it for a year? Have you been doing it for 10 years? That'd be a different answer, because I think you do need to start more compound, but you need to do compounds right and know what you're doing with those compounds, and then eventually you move more isolated the more advanced you get. But if you're specifically wanting to do hypertrophy, you want to do as much frequency as you can, because you want to get as many workouts as you can as recovery will allow. So if a muscle is fully recovered, then you want to be hitting it again as soon as possible. So you want to try and do everything around that. So you want to train the sets and reps based on what's going to allow you to hit a muscle the most frequent while also giving it the maximum stimulation. You need to go to about that knee flex point, because going beyond that, going here, you're just working calves. You really you want to stop here to keep the tension in your hamstrings. All the way to here where they're fully contracted, just to there, and then back. And you want very smooth transitions at each point. Effortless. It should look like it's just hitting that point and automatically going back into a contraction. Just like a bicep curl. Tense up, tense up, tense up. Build the tension until that point. Hold the tension and then slowly release the tension. Still keeping it all in the hamstring only. Glute bridge. Keep your shin perpendicular to the ground. Complete 90-degree angle the whole way. Just lengthening your glutes and then contracting them. So you're just going to where your knee starts to bend back up. Real slow. You're going to keep all the tension in your glutes. If there's ever a lift to not worry about doing too much of a range of motion, it's this one, but only at the low point. You always want to hit that full point. A lot of people will start doing it where they go from here and they get to here and they start going back, but no. You go until you can get here. When you can't get here anymore, you're done. Press against these at all. Okay. Touch them, slightly use them like just to stabilize, but no pressure. Drive with your feet. Brace by pushing here and getting your back and torso against the seat. And then just press down with your feet.
We just got done working out with my boy Tyler, and we didn't really get to say goodbye, but he had a dip. I think he was too scared of me or something. I don't know. I'm kind of intimidating, I guess, but. So, now we're just eating at Chipotle, tearing this bowl up. He's super knowledgeable. He's been doing it longer than I have and has more experience, so I look to him so I can gain that knowledge, and then when I've done it for a while, I can eventually pass it on to you guys. So, and then y'all can gain it, pass it on to others, and we can grow as a whole community. So that's why I appreciate working out with people like him. Anyways, hope you learned something. Make sure comment, like, and subscribe. We just passed 100, guys, so thank you so much for that. Now the goal is 500, so we can get there. Stay swole. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.